I already uploaded part 1 to this 30-day challenge, so I recommend you go watch that first before you watch this one. I'll spare the long intro and get straight into the prompts. Paladins are knights mostly known for an unrelenting loyalty to a cause or leader, but I want to explore the religious implications behind their status. Paladins are sort of pigeonholed into this uptight ditzy archetype, and that doesn't match 𝔂𝔯𝔢 at all.
'Tis but a scratch. A scratch? Your arm's off!
Maybe the ditzy part? I don't know, but 𝔂𝔯𝔢 is more silly than ditzy. She's not ignorant of the real world and certainly doesn't blindly follow a leader, so putting 𝔂𝔯𝔢 in this casual pose balances the intensity of the wholly upstanding armor they have on. I thought about putting 𝔂𝔯𝔢 in this super heroic pose, but that would further solidify that squeaky clean look that I'm trying to avoid here. 𝔂𝔯𝔢 isn't squeaky clean and certainly doesn't bend to the will of a higher power just because they say so. I think what makes me associate 𝔂𝔯𝔢 with paladins is their morality, which can often be their biggest weakness. While 𝔂𝔯𝔢 is a moral person, their morality isn't rigid or black and white. They are capable of making difficult decisions even if it means sacrificing their own well-being. I'm surprised I didn't delve deeper into 𝔂𝔯𝔢's transmogrifying abilities during this challenge, but to be fair to myself, I was more focused on getting a consistent look for 𝔂𝔯𝔢, so that would be fairly counterproductive. Their masculine form is in a stark contrast to their feminine form, but it would still make sense to visually represent it a little for a challenge specifically focused on 𝔂𝔯𝔢. While 𝔂𝔯𝔢 is typically feminine presenting, they technically don't have a gender. 𝔂𝔯𝔢 is a magical entity way out of the bounds of human understanding. 𝔂𝔯𝔢 will transform into what she feels like, so the form they present themselves in is a choice, not a limitation. They are capable of taking on many different forms. Regardless, 𝔂𝔯𝔢's masculine form still has extremely sharp features, piercing eyes, and grossly exaggerated sideburns. She still has long hair, but in this image it's hidden behind her in a ponytail. 𝔂𝔯𝔢's younger form is a bit more gender neutral, so it isn't uncommon for people to be confused by their appearance, especially depending on the time and setting they're set in. For this prompt, I took inspiration from a trend that started with the photographer 𝔲𝔯𝔢. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong though. It's sort of difficult to tell who starts this kind of stuff when no one mentions a specific name. Imagine 𝔂𝔯𝔢 hauling an assortment of talismans from a multitude of religions in and on her bag. With 𝔂𝔯𝔢's appearance, they're already someone who stands out in the homogeneous city of Osaka, so I reckon all these talismans make her stand out even more. People probably think she's an over-obsessed superstitious nut at first glance. But despite her eclectic attitude, 𝔂𝔯𝔢 gets along with the children and older folk in her neighborhood. Each item laid out here is in reference to the 7 deadly sins. The 7 hearts playing card, greed. The aphrodisiac and maroon lipstick, lust. The wada ningyo tied with the red string, envy. A well-used but empty wallet, gluttony. A miniature carry-on Bible and a silver cross, wrath. Rolled up incenses of unanswered prayers, sloth. And pride, a collection of jangling talismans. Ellen Heck's Color Wheels project is a labyrinthine exploration of color, a visual testament and a conceptual exploration of color relationships and structure using the color wheel. This project conceptualized large-scale compositions using intaglio printed color wheels, which were each used as a starting point to create art that contributed to a larger, interconnected system. As a printmaking fan myself, I couldn't help but jump at the opportunity to base the art for this prompt on one of these color studies. The study has a lot of warm tones that are similar to the palettes often seen on some insular art made in the Common Era of the 6th and 9th centuries. Adult 𝔂𝔯𝔢, with her white hair, was sort of shown in the Fantasy AU prompt, but it's been fully revealed in its full glory in this art piece. A shimmering white is 𝔂𝔯𝔢's natural hair color. Strands of hair have been described to glimmer in the sunlight like crystals or reflect the sun's gaze like gold. The sudden appearance of 𝔰𝔯𝔢 red hair is shrouded in mystery to most, but those old enough to remember can recall the same shade of red on a long-forgotten partner of hers, 𝔲𝔄𝔓. It is said that once two powerful beings are joined together in love, they become one in more ways than one. No one is quite sure why 𝔰𝔯𝔢 is no longer seen with their natural hair color, but after the death of 𝔲𝔄𝔓, no one dares to ask either. I continued to enjoy working with the color palette, but this time I took a more flexible approach. Instead of rigidly adhering to a specific color scheme, I opted for a more subtle alignment to create the right context for this piece. I used more blues to reflect 𝔰𝔯𝔢's connection to the sky, symbolizing both the celestial and the terrestrial. These are realms where 𝔰𝔯𝔢 feels constrained, both physically and mentally. Even after losing her partner, 𝔰𝔯𝔢 tries their best to be benevolent to humans despite their distrust of them, and in their most vulnerable state, she is rewarded with the utmost depraved cruelties instead. In her darkest moments, a hallucination of Yeshua, a human she once knew, becomes her only solace. Although the anatomy is a little off in some parts, I enjoy the flow of the process and the use of direct storytelling in this composition. Oh, I love ponies so fucking much. MLP AU 𝔰𝔯𝔢 already exists. I made a pony design for 𝔰𝔯𝔢 in like 2020 so I could play as her in Ponytown. I'm not in the Ponytown streets anymore, but I got so excited for this prompt when I saw it. I initially just drew a little sprite art of 𝔰𝔯𝔢 flying through the air, but then I realized this design kinda sucks. I kept 𝔰𝔯𝔢's chest fluffs and golden antlers, but the red on red, with almost nothing to counter it visually, was hurting my soul. I made 𝔰𝔯𝔢 cuddlier looking and took away her freckles cause why? 𝔰𝔯𝔢 doesn't have freckles in her normal design. Why did I add that in the first place? I think I gave her wings because it's simply just fun to fly around in Ponytown, but 𝔰𝔯𝔢 not having wings is a pretty integral part of her story as a fallen angel, so I took the wings away too. In terms of the AU itself, I reckon 𝔰𝔯𝔢 would probably be a Garden of Tartarus, punishing and soothing the souls of those who were deemed too evil to reform. If 𝔰𝔯𝔢 was the one in control of Tartarus, I'll be the first to tell you that there wouldn't be so many cases of people escaping that bitch. Yeah, she'd probably get in a situationship with Celestia at some point, because that's the type of person she is. It would never work out in the end though. 𝔰𝔯𝔢's design draws heavily from the Takuro Iga Revue, an all-female musical theater troupe known for its androgynous performers. Lady Oscar from The Rose of Versailles serves as a notable example of this aesthetic. While Urbosa from The Legend of Zelda bears a striking resemblance to 𝔰𝔯𝔢, I had a specific composition in mind that I was eager to explore, so I stuck with Lady Oscar. To complement 𝔰𝔯𝔢, I included Princess Thoma, another OC of mine to dress as Marie Antoinette. Thoma, a leader of demon dogs, holds a high societal standing amongst demons. This status was further elevated when she became 𝔰𝔯𝔢's secretary, assisting 𝔰𝔯𝔢 when she's off with more hazardous tasks. Despite her position, Thoma is not physically strong, being weaker than the average werewolf or demon dog. Her rise to power stems from her exceptional diplomatic skills, requiring her to rely on others for protection. However, Thoma possesses a berserker mode that unleashes immense, albeit unpredictable and dangerous strength. If you're interested in studying the rendering process, I have a past stream uploaded here on YouTube in episode 3 of my Draw With Me series. I originally planned to paint 𝔰𝔯𝔢 resting underneath a tree. However, after the demands of day 21, I decided to give myself a break and practice drawing a prototype of a chibi version of 𝔰𝔯𝔢. 𝔰𝔯𝔢's appearance is quite dramatic, making it challenging to capture her essence in a cute, simplified style, and this exercise pushed me to experiment more with this approach. I added a halo to Sasha, but it somehow mysteriously vanished from my layers panel. I believe I accidentally deleted it. I could have redrawn it, but it was too late and I decided to call it a night. After a day of chibi fun, I decided to push myself further and attempt another painting. I quickly realized that tackling 4 characters in a single day was overly ambitious. The worst part is that it's still radically rougher than my normal paintings, so it feels like I was slacking off, but I swear I wasn't. I somehow managed to lose a lot of the process since I did this on Clip Studio Paint. However, I also streamed the entire process, including my struggles with painting Fuji's face. You can witness this embarrassing struggle firsthand in episodes 4 and 5 of my Draw With Me series if you're interested in that sort of thing. Sadists. In case you don't remember who Fuji is, Sasha was Fuji's childhood friend and confidant. However, the relationship drifted apart following World War II. This estrangement continued until Fuji's past as a demon began to haunt him, forcing him to confront his past and rekindle his friendship with Sasha. The other figures in the painting are Manami and Masaki Fuji, twin demon dogs adopted and raised by Sasha, Fuji, and Azrael during their time in America. Manami and Masaki view Sasha not only as a leader, but also as a beloved parental figure. While Fuji deeply cares for the twins, the prospect of reconnecting with them stirs up painful memories from his past. Manami and Masaki, now adults, are saddened by their father figure's prolonged absence. I envisioned this painting as a candid photograph taken by Masaki on a disposable camera during a cold winter night. Fuji, burdened by guilt for his past avoidance, is initially hesitant to join the group. However, they are all eager to reunite as a family, especially after the loss of Azrael. The drawing isn't overly complex, but I was primarily focused on using a different art style, with the overtly thin liner and simpler shapes. Sasha's body proportions could be slightly thicker, but they're not significantly off, so I'm not too concerned. I decided against posting it on Instagram, but that's not because it's a complete disaster, it's simply just not very remarkable to me. Devil's Kiss is set in the early to mid-90s, so I wanted to ensure that the technology was reflected of that era. I considered depicting Sasha roller skating while listening to music on a Walkman, but I decided to save that idea for another painting. I knew the poses I envisioned for that scene would be quite challenging to execute. I kept the Walkman and had that be a primary focus here. In the first part of this 30-day challenge, I drew a portrait of Sasha based on a color palette and the illuminated scripts based on the religious book, the Book of Kells. I went back to that style to portray Sasha as a higher being or a prophet to illustrate her otherworldly qualities. Sasha is heavily based on the mythos of Lucifer, so they share a similar backstory of previously being one of God's favorite angels before a disagreement which turned into a rebellion, which had then caused Sasha to be shunned from the heavens. The backstory is less black and white in Devil's Kiss. It's not necessarily that Sasha was right and God was this ignorant, evil being. Sasha had fears that were placed within good reason, but she was overly passionate and her apprehension and anger overcame her discernment. God and the other angels were determined with their goals and believed little harm would come of it. They were both right in their own ways, but passions took over their love for each other. Their follow is meant to be read as more tragic than a good side conquering a great evil. Sasha and Yeshua's relationship dynamic is similar to that of an older brother or uncle who's trying their best to understand their younger relative, but is mostly concerned with protecting them instead. Yeshua loves Sasha but doesn't trust her. Yeshua can't tell if Sasha's actions are motivated by love or jealousy, but they're probably a mix of both. 𝔄𝔯𝔓 was the gateway into 𝔲𝔯𝔢's understanding of human nature. She had this unnatural protectiveness over him that she didn't completely understand herself. It's not that she believed he was weak, it was just that in combination with knowing his fate and having a hand in raising him, it was the first time 𝔲𝔯𝔢 understood the fragility of humans. 𝔄𝔯𝔢 was possibly the first time 𝔲𝔯𝔢 willingly connected with a human. Over the summer, I set myself the goal of refining my chibi drawing style. While I had an underdeveloped chibi style, it leaned more towards a cartoony feeling with thick outlines than the true essence of chibi. My initial attempts were pretty rough, with a noticeable effort to force cuteness by softening my line art. Fortunately, with practice, I began to develop a more authentic chibi style. My chibi rendition of Dr. Carmi in October solidified my understanding of this style. This chibi 𝔲𝔯𝔢 is inspired by the painting I created on day 8. During that painting session, I spontaneously designed the upper half of 𝔲𝔯𝔢's outfit, leaving the lower half undecided. Fortunately, I enjoyed the process of completing the design through this outlet. I'm particularly pleased with my growing ability to convey personality through single poses. Exaggeration is key in chibi art, which definitely aids in character expression. I revisited Fuji and 𝔲𝔯𝔢's dynamic with a new drawing. I already created Mermaid OCs, and I was eager to depict 𝔲𝔯𝔢 as a pirate interacting with them. However, since this prompt likely suggests transforming our existing OCs into mermaids, I'll save that idea for another time. I aimed to parody 90s Japanese beer commercials. I debated whether to create a fictional beer company or use an existing brand as inspiration. For this reason, I wanted to leave some space above it so it would be easier to edit it in the future. I've drawn 𝔲𝔯𝔢 with the can of 𝔲𝔰𝔢 before, so I thought I should go for 𝔲𝔯𝔢 this time. Just trying to show that I'm not sponsored or have a personal bias towards either of them. I actually don't really like beer. When I saw the last prompt, I couldn't help but laugh at the irony. I was relieved that I didn't have to overthink the subject matter. Since I don't often draw Azrael, I decided to pair him with 𝔲𝔯𝔢. Azrael is a prominent figure in Abrahamic religions, particularly in Islam, where he is revered as an angel of death. Azrael is a being of immense power, tasked with the role that involves the ushering of souls into the afterlife. Azrael and 𝔲𝔯𝔢 were acquainted before the rebellion. Ironically, their relationship deepened after the conflict, even though they found themselves on opposing sides. Humans, being inherently terrestrial, are required to be made by materials of Earth. Before humanity's creation, which was the catalyst for 𝔲𝔯𝔢's rebellion, Azrael proved to be the only angel brave enough to go down to the Garden of Eden and face 𝔲𝔯𝔢, and acquire the necessary materials for the creation of man. It was during this encounter that despite their opposing roles, Azrael and 𝔲𝔯𝔢 fell deeply in love. However, this profound love did not dissuade them from fulfilling their respective duties. And that wraps up our 30-day drawing challenge. I'm glad I was able to explore a wide range of themes and styles, from fantastical scopes to defining 𝔲𝔯𝔢's everyday life in Osaka. I got to introduce the complexity of 𝔲𝔯𝔢's character, from her rebellious spirit to her stubborn morality. This challenge has been a journey of self-discovery, pushing creative boundaries and learning new techniques. I've been drawing 𝔲𝔯𝔢 for more than a decade, and I feel like I've learned more about 𝔲𝔯𝔢 than I have in many years, and I hope you've enjoyed following along in this art journey. Thank you for joining me on this picnic. I'll be sharing more of my artwork soon, so stay tuned. Let me know if you liked it and support me by subscribing and clicking the notification bell for updates on me and my work. Happy holidays!